All right, well, we're getting ready to begin the middle ground. And the middle ground is that area that's in between the background, the things that are farthest away, and the things that are in the foreground that are out in the front. I'm going to start working on this middle ground section that you see back here. And our first step is to pick a color to create a graded wash. And you really want to kind of start out with maybe like one or maybe two colors. And you're just going to create a very thin graded wash to create your underpainting. Now this underpainting is meant to be relatively thin, not too much detail to start out with. I'm going to, let's see, looking at my photo, there's quite a bit of blues and greens in there. So I'm just going to grab some dark green, mix it up here in my top part. That green's a little bit too vibrant for me, so I'm going to get that wiped off. I want to put a little bit of this blue in there. Get a little bit more. All right, so I'm going to create this little bit darker layer here. I'm using a nice big brush. My layer behind there is really kind of dried out. Just kind of filling in my space. And remember, we're starting with an under painting, okay? Our goal is to kind of try and get some color down. Moving relatively quickly before it dries. If you're afraid it's going to start drying, add in some water. Kind of soften up those edges. Should probably use a little bit smaller brush, but I will survive. Being extra careful when I'm going around my edges here. I don't want to start getting this green inside of the people. Trying to pay attention to all of my little hard edges over here, making sure that they stay wet so they don't get dry where I don't want them to dry. Just taking my time. Filling in my spaces. That got a little dark. Using a bigger brush to kind of blend things out. There we go. All right, so once you've kind of gotten most of your main spaces filled in, then you can either wait till it's completely dry, or you can start to add some details while it's still wet. So it's either adding dry brush techniques or wet on wet techniques. That's going to be entirely up to you. I want to add in some yellows. I'm going to add a little bit more water to some of this. It's got a little bit too intense. There we go. Some parts of this are just a little bit darker. I'm going to add in. All right. If you have little spaces that maybe you got a little bit too dark, you can always add like a little bit of water, spread them out. And things are looking okay. Doing all right. Now, I gotta wait till it dries.